have a
plan
idea
for
of
what?
you're doing?
I do actually, but so you're asking me, give me the step-by-step plan for getting to the moon. And I'm saying getting to the moon.
No, not the moon.
Takes
What?
a lot of
Yeah.
steps
Stop
and a lot of different
manipulating the conversation
not
into the moon.
manipulating at all.
I disagree with you.
Okay, I disagree with you, so that's fine.
That's
I
why you
disagree.
should be our mayor.
You know,
Should not be our mayor. You didn't even do your signs properly.
my signs are fine.
Now they're fine. Now they're fine. And by the way, I'm here by myself. I do not, I support registered people that I went to school with, but I have learned to speak for myself. And again, I asked you, is this where you're answering your question?
It is where I'm answering questions.
So I said, after that.
Okay. Yeah, Chad, tell me about what you're doing. I'm telling you.
Are we on camera?
Absolutely, I just told you what I
I'm just out the
I
video.
want to get the administration of our city changed. Well, first thing I'd like to do in the budget is to get the position of city administrator. Because we need to get help.
I hope that I become a Samaritan. I'm hoping, from your standpoint, you're running for the town that I live in. So everything you say and do and touch will affect my life every day.
Not actually. Mayor and city of
Okay,
Pittsburgh
I'm not going to argue about what I think. I'm asking you.
Mayor is such a weak position in this city
I'm
that
talking about the
he
mayor.
can't
I'm
do.
asking you your plans.
I'm telling you my plans. If you would listen for 5 seconds, you would hear them.
No, you manipulated
I am
conversation.
not manipulating the conversation.
How many questions have you answered?
Well, I'm trying to answer at least 2.
How many have you answered?
2. But you won't
Can you
shut up
repeat
long enough to
them?
listen.
Can you repeat them?
Absolutely.
The first question was,
What is my plan?
what is
And
your
I started to answer that by saying we need to change the administration in our city. We administer the city. That's one aspect of what I want us to do. And I didn't get to go any further because you interrupted me beyond that. So I wasn't able to continue beyond that.
Can I say something? That's from now on, when I ask you a question, keep in mind how imperfect I am. Okay, I'm not running for any office. I came from my house to here. So when I make mistakes, you're bad.
When I make mistakes, please don't blame it on me. Let's have a fair and civil conversation now, okay?
You just did it. You just interrupted me, and I'm telling
You've
you.
interrupted me 4 times, so.
And
And?
you're an idiot. You are a complete idiot.
I have a
I have
question.
some questions now. Serious questions about.
Okay, you're running for mayor,
Right.
but you voted against Jeremiah Hill being investigated. How do you feel that?
I didn't vote against Jeremiah Hill.
I
being
heard to myself in one
investigated.
time. I heard to
In fact, you
myself.
guys aren't here together with your notes.
No, I have
That's,
my own notes.
I got it.
I'm
I
here.
got it. I got it. No,
I'm here by
I will
myself.
believe your story, whatever you guys want to
You
tell
do
for the
not
front of the
have
camera.
anything.
I will believe whatever you guys want to put on camera. So that's fine.
You were
don't believe
against the
your
city administrator and the city secretary.
I just come just a video. That's it.
When they called,
the city secretary and the city administrator
yes,
would never come up for an investigation.
when they called for the audit, you said there was no need for it.
I did.
Why?
Actually, I didn't say that at all. What I said in the meeting is that if we're going to do an audit, we need to do a full audit and not just cherry pick. And the reason why is because when you cherry pick an audit, you actually invalidate everything within the frame of that audit. An audit is only valid if it's done completely and totally and you look at the whole big picture. If you go through and just cherry pick a few things and decide we're going to audit those things, you invalidate it. So it's not worth the money that you're going to spend in order to get that information. So that's the main reason why I said we shouldn't do a cherry picked audit. If we're going to do an audit, it needs to be a full and complete audit, and it needs to be done on the entire city, this entire city budget, the entire city expenditures, everything involved, not just cherry pick a few things here and there, because that's an invalidated audit.
You sat on the council with Jeremiah Hill.
I did.
Jeremiah Hill was arrested for taking money from the EDC.
He was not arrested for that.
What was the charges then? Theft?
Well, he's been indicted.
He's been indicted for taking
but
money
he was
from
never
the
arrested.
EDC.
So you need to be careful.
He was
you use
indicted
it.
for
Right.
taking money from the
Yeah.
EDC. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that a man is innocent until proven guilty, and if he is guilty of a crime, then he should serve the time for whatever's
Did you
involved.
not
with that.
stand next to him when he purchased those animals, so you knew of the
I did not. I was at the auction, but was nowhere in the vicinity of Jeremiah Hill when that auction took place. This is a lie that's perpetrated by a bunch of folks that don't know or have facts about what actually
That's
happened.
why we're here to find out the facts.
So, well, I'm telling you the facts, but you're telling me that I'm wrong about what I did. So So
I didn't tell you I was wrong. I asked you a question.
I did not stand beside Jeremiah Hill. I was not a part of Jeremiah's
We weren't even
Hill's
there. I remember that day
group.
we came by and you made a bid on a. Because we got something.
No, not for the FAA.
Because I remember swinging by there one time.
That was a different option. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the FFA auction. Yeah, I was there and I went to support the FFA, but I did not bid on anything when I was there, and I was not with the what do you call it? The Friends of Jeremiah Hill. He had a table out there, all kinds of stuff, but I wasn't part of that. I was.
Okay, and my other question is, you sat on the council when Stephanie Green, also Kiki Connor, stated that they were being harassed and, you know.
I wasn't. Both Kiki and Stephanie were gone before I was elected onto the city council.
So I have to do my research on that.
Yeah. Kiki was gone before I was ever voted for, and I think Stephanie resigned right before the election. Like I don't remember the exact time frame, but I think it was the first of the year, and then the election happened in May, and I was elected to council that May. I was coming to council meetings a lot during that time, and so I saw, that I saw when she was removed from the position of the courts department and moved over to the where she was doing the administration for the city, and then subsequently from that, she left the city.
When we first was asking you a question and you focused on Kiki Connor, can you reiterate on what you were saying at that point about the city administrator?
Sure. So I was
city
saying is that administering this city is a big job, and that we used to have a city administrator, city secretary, and a comptroller to do that. And right now, we have just Kiki Connor doing that. And what I said is that is such a big job that within 30 days of her actually being, she wasn't even the actual city administrator, she was still the interim city secretary. She came to council and asked if we would approve hiring an assistant to help her out.
Okay, and she asked council to approve of her hiring an assistant. So
She asked council if there could be an assistant,
Okay,
an
so-
interim assistant city secretary.
okay, so what was the issue of her hiring Stephanie as her assistant?
The biggest problem with that is that violates the Chapter 573 of the California nepotism laws. I'm sorry, Texas.
We're in Texas,
Yeah,
so-
sorry. The Texas nepotism laws, Chapter 573. Yeah. And so because she is related to
Okay, but this is what I wanted to reiterate on. You said Kiki came to you all and asked y'all if she could hire herself an assistant. So why is your
She
wife
didn't ask if she could hire. She asked if we would approve an
would
assistant,
approve her
the
an
position. If we would
assistant?
approve us the
That's
position.
what she said. So why is your wife making a statement that the council hired her, or the council went back and done it? Let's go back and look at her Facebook
The council hired whom?
Stephanie Banks. Yes,
the
she
council
did.
didn't hire.
Go reread her post. Your wife made the statement that she did. Go reread.
That the council hired.
That the council hired her back and Kiki, and that is nepotism. Go back and look at her post. So you actually stating that Kiki asked the council if she can hire herself an assistant.
Right.
So that goes to show she's making false statements, because if
I
you
don't think so. She said the
if you
council
go
hired Stephanie.
yes ma'am
I
she
can look
did.
up what I
Go
said.
back and look
Okay.
on
I
go
don't
back
know.
and look at One Brookshire.
We can look at it.
Look at One
We can look at
Brookshire.
it. And sometimes there's an interpretation involved in that. She may have said council approved it, and you're
ma'am.
interpreting it as
She-
saying
she
council.
said- she said
Now
signed
y'all
it.
are
I don't
arguing
know.
what I said.
She said the council hired her.
If you can
back.
show me a printout of it, I'd be
You
happy
should
to
have
look
a
at it.
printout.
I can't get on.
I shouldn't have a printout of every single thing that's
I
ever
can't
been
get
I
printed
didn't
on
say
one
every single
brochure.
thing, Mr. McInerney.
I shouldn't have it at my fingertips.
We're not allowed on. We're
that
not
it's printed out like that.
We
so.
are not allowed on One Brookshire. We're not a friend of
That's okay. I'm not
Jeremiah
allowed.
Hill.
I'm not allowed on Berkshire Community.
And-
So
and
you know,
we're-
everybody has their
your
little
wife is-
favoritisms
your
that they're
wife
doing.
is-
So
I
that's
know.
okay. It's all there.
I don't have favoritism. I'm for what's right. And
Okay, well, me too.
I just can't.
Me too.
I just can't see how you could run for mayor and you sit right beside all the corruption.
I didn't sit beside it.
Okay, so what happened?
President, right? I was too.
You sat on council. So
I was on council.
in your opinion, what have Mayor Branch done for the city?
Mayor Branch.
Yes.
I can tell you quite frankly, I don't think that Mayor Branch is a very strong leader. And I have had a lot of discussions with and about Mayor Branch, the fact that he needs to be more of an administrator, especially because we are right now operating under the mayor-council form of government, which means that the mayor ultimately has to be far more administratively present and active and involved than when we had an administrator. The best thing that Mayor Branch ever did for the city was to approve getting an administrator brought in so that we could grow and prepare our city for the future.
Which administrator is that?
Well, the first person we hired.
You
was
said
Jim
Mayor
Malone.
Branch
she's
approved
been
getting
indicted, so that could've
administrator
been a good
brought it
decision.
in?
He was part of that when the council did. When the council.
Oh, and he said, so both in the council and always say that he does not know what's going on, or he didn't know.
I'm sorry, I understand the question.
You said Mayor Branch approved that administrator being brought in?
Yeah, he was part of the discussions when we had all of that.
You said he approved her. You
yeah,
said the
he-
best thing he did for the city of Bridgeton
Was to approve her.
was
Was
to
approve
approve the
the
administrator Jennifer Jones Ward.
Yeah.
But
I-
Mayor
I-
Branch
I
said
never said he
approve.
approved of Administrator General Jones.
Yes, you did.
I didn't. I said he
It's
approved
on
it.
here now.
It's on there, but I never said that. I said he approved
Then
the
who
city.
said it?
I said I.
Other
That,
Tony McAnally?
no, I said
You
that he
just said
approved.
it.
I did not. Ruth, you're putting words in my mouth.
I'm not. It's on
But
here.
I don't. Go ahead and review it, and you will find out that once again, Ruth Rodriguez
Why
is
are,
wrong.
why are you getting upset?
Why are you
Because
getting
Ruth is
upset?
attacking me as she always does
I'm
with
a
lies and
girl.
falsehoods.
I am a girl. I'm
I
not
mean, but
attacking
you're
you.
getting-
You are attacking me, and you continue to do so.
Stop crying.
We
I'm
are,
mad.
crying.
we
Stop
are
crying. Be a
citizens
woman.
of, we are the
I'm
citizens
standing
of
right here.
Bridgeton.
Absolutely.
And if we
Yourself.
can't ask you a question without you getting upset,
You
then
can ask a question if you ask
shouldn't
it
be out
civilly
Oh, she has
and
to ask it
politely
civilly.
and nicely.
Where's the book
and
for
if you will-
civil for you to
I
ask
asked
you
it
questions
civilly.
Okay, you know,
I'm
I'm
just,
done
you know.
because you guys aren't going to listen.
You're
and you're
not going to
interrupting
be
me.
my
I'm done.
mayor. You cannot be
I
my
was
mayor
told-
if you do what Jeremiah Hill did.
I didn't
When
do
we
what
asked
Jeremiah
him
Hill
tough questions.
I didn't do what Jeremiah Hill did. Haven't
You
done
did.
anything that he
It's
did.
on film.
I haven't done anything Jeremiah Hill did. What I said is I'm
I
not going
disagree
to.
with you.
That's fine, but
I
I'm
have
not
a
going
question
to.
about the $16,000 check.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
You
but
guys
that
aren't
is-
listening to
that
me,
is your-
so I'm done.
That has nothing to do with him.
It has to do with our city. This
It
place
does.
sits on city council.
You're
Everybody
right.
up there sits.
But you're gonna ask him. You're asking him about things that he was not a part
Stop
of.
cherry picking. Stop.
I'm not cherry
What
picking.
about-
Cherry picking.
No, I'm not. I'm
Yes,
asking
you
you
are.
where I live here. I've lived here my
I'm done.
entire life. My entire life.
There's some oatmeal coconut cookies.
Take
if
that
you'd
oatmeal
like.
cookie with you. Oatmeal coconut.
Were you aware that Mr. Hill got
I'm not answering any more questions from you, Ruth, because you're not listening to the answers.
You're not giving answers.
I am giving answers. You're interrupting
Mr.
me.
McDaniel.
Stop
I
that.
just no, you're a liar. Both of you are very unattractive people in your persona.
You're a liar.
You did not allow me to participate in the 150-year celebration.
I absolutely
tried to
allowed
get
you,
in.
and you chose not to.
No, you didn't.
I
I'm not
did
gonna argue.
absolutely allowed you to, and you chose not to attend meetings.
Why are you doing coming at me like that? Quit attacking
You're right. It
me.
has nothing to do with it.
Quit attacking me.
It has nothing to do with this. I'm
Yes,
not
it-
attacking
and
you. You're
what-
attacking me.
Okay, now this is
It's
a
false
matter.
accusations.
Why do you
I'm
have
asking
people from the
questions.
church shove things in my lap? Why do you do that?
I
You
didn't
know
have
what?
anybody shove anything
I
in
would
that.
like to explain that for the record. I hope the camera is on.
You got disfocused, Reggie.
Oh.
Pay attention because we need to get this on
Please,
record.
please pay attention.
We've explained this to Ruth 20 times. She
I
doesn't
made
get it.
You
Okay,
Yeah, we
wait,
have.
no, this is my
Anything to me?
turn.
We
It's my
have.
turn.
I'm
A
going
dozen
to talk to
times.
you
Excuse
because
me, this is my
my
turn. You
wife-
I'm
asked.
scared I'm going to hurt you.
My wife has done it because she was the one involved. I wasn't even involved. in
Well,
it.
your
I'll
name
talk to
came
you,
up.
Jackie. Would you like to listen?
I don't care if my name came up.
I make homemade vanilla, and so we call it
called
Macanilla.
Macanilla.
It's homemade vanilla. It's vodka with a vanilla bean. I have a lot of fun giving it away for holidays and things, especially Christmas time. It's a nice gift that I give. So, well, I can get you one later. I have some at home. So, at church, I had several that I had taken to give out to friends. So as I was seeing them, I was handing them out to different friends. It's in a little stocking and it's a little bottle that says Macanilla. It's a gift.
It wasn't a gift to
I
me.
saw you in the car next to me, and as Erica Roca walked by, I said, "Could you give this to Ruth for me as a gift?"
No,
That's
not
what it
happened.
was.
That's what you say happened.
I'm
That's not what
just,
happened.
Well, I can talk to Eric, and you can talk to Eric if that's what happened.
I don't know anybody at the church,
Macanilla,
and I'm not your
he's
friend.
Eric is who gave you a ride. You were in
She
his
gave you a
car.
ride to church for
That
months.
doesn't mean anything to you. It's none of your business, first of all.
I was giving you a gift. I was giving you a
I'm
gift.
just, yeah.
The
Now,
fact that
you're
you just-
The
irritated.
fact that your wife is
No, what's
protecting
funny-
you,
what's funny
you
is
don't think I'm
you.
going to jump over her,
Yeah.
do you?
What's funny is you, because no matter what somebody says, you just can't be smart enough to understand it and
That's
answer.
you, dude. That's you. That's you. You
Okay.
cherry pick, you manipulate, you exclude people, and now you're running for mayor with a really funky sign.
Not excluding
That you
anybody.
fixed it with black marker,
Not excluding
and then you
anybody.
want people to look at you like with
Not excluding
prestige.
anybody.
And you're supposed to be at a higher standard than me. You're supposed to be.
Haven't excluded anybody.
There's some
You're supposed
coconut
to be
oatmeal
at a higher
cookies and
standard than me,
brownies
and you're not.
for water.
In my opinion.
Kids out here
Why
now.
is that? have to be why does your version of the truth have to be the only truth? It doesn't have to be truth.
I agree with you. My version of the truth is my version of the
Exactly.
truth.
It doesn't have to be at all.
So, but that's your understanding.
I'm
You can
trying
eat bread,
to
yes,
see.
I'm
Sharon, I would love to answer your questions because I thought you and I had actually agreed on a few things. I was really shocked when you came behind my back and stabbed me with a 6-inch dagger without talking to me at all.
I understand you.
She's a woman picking up
When
in the
you
middle.
uphold wrong,
I haven't upheld wrong.
and I heard you a couple of times.
When have I upheld
that,
wrong?
I heard you a couple of times saying that Jeremiah Hill didn't need to be investigated. If he's doing something wrong and nobody said it was you, the right thing for you to do was to push
Okay,
the issue.
so do you know that Jeremiah Hill was investigated before the city council approved the city council's investigation by law enforcement? He was already investigated before the city council ever approved the city council's investigation by Billy Tidwell. He had already been investigated by law enforcement.
Okay,
And law enforcement found no wrongdoing and no reason to move forward with any allegations to the district attorney's office.
Okay, so why now?
Billy Tidwell didn't find any
So
wrongdoing.
why now?
What's that?
So why now?
Why now or what?
Why now did they move forward with it? It was a cause for them to do it.
Because the city then went forward and did another investigation and had hired Billy Tidwell to do that. At the end of that investigation, the city sent that document to the district attorney's office. Quite frankly, the district attorney's office has a policy that essentially says if there is any allegations of wrongdoing, that they send it up to the grand jury to do the investigation.
I'm gonna ask the
But
question.
my thing is so many of y'all sat on that council, and Kim Branch, somebody just put it on Facebook where she literally said that everybody was
Okay,
doing
first of all, let's get the facts straight. Kim Branch did not reprint that. That was a reprint from an anonymous member who wasn't even brave enough to
She
put the name.
originally
In
posted it.
2022, you're right.
That's what I
Right,
said.
right.
She originally posted
Right,
it.
but she
And
didn't
she-
recently repost it. Kim Branch did not
I
recently
did not
repost
say
it.
that.
Yes,
I,
yes, you
if,
just
if
said.
you listen, I said someone
You did say someone, you said Kim
reiterated
Branch,
on it,
but-
and where she posted and said that Rocks was
Well,
being
yeah,
broke,
she-
hands were being high, and then she said that y'all were
My dad was
approving
there.
certain
She was
people to
there.
get
Because we
money or
were there, we
donations
went
from
off.
the city, and she asked y'all if y'all do it for one, to do it for everybody, and it wasn't done like that. And then the post
I'm not gonna
also
answer that
said
question. I'm not
that
gonna
the council was divided.
Yes.
So how can you sit on a council with somebody that,
They
that
can hear them.
the mayor, and then his wife says it's divided, but then when things happen, nobody knows anything.
Well, first of all, I sit on the council because that's the council. Right. So I didn't have a chance to change the council at the time.
You didn't have
right?
a chance to change, but you've been sitting on there for 2 years.
Yes.
2 years.
Right.
With the accusations and all those types
And
of
Mr.
things.
Hill and I
Was the
served
mayor
together
pro
for a
tem.
year, and then we served together for a year on that council. Because he was elected, I was not on council. A year later, I was elected. So we overlapped for 1 year. Then last May, he was no longer serving on the council. So he and I served together on council for 1 year. And during
Only
that
1 year,
time,
not 2 years.
what's that?
Only 1 year, not 2 years.
We only served together. So he was elected in May of, what would have been,
He was
4
elected
years
1 year
ago.
because Hill, Amanda,
And Kim Branch
and Tim.
were elected. And that was the year you ran also.
Yeah.
That's irrelevant,
And
sir.
I'm
You're
just
not here
using
to
it as
ask
a,
about Ruth.
I'm using it as a point of reference
You don't
to
have to.
determine
It's
the
irrelevant.
absolutely I do.
Oh no, it's relevant.
It's relevant.
because it's very relevant because if he wasn't there on 1 year, then he got to be a teacher for it.
Okay.
He came in the
Oh, your question I think is relevant to my head, but what he's
He
saying.
came the year Lenny chose not to run.
Right.
He took Lenny's seat. That
Yes,
was
I
a year
remember
after
that.
him.
Right,
You
right.
gotta
So
be
Monique
honest.
and the mayor and myself, we all ran the same year. So that's the audience. That was a year after that Jeremiah and Amanda were elected. So Jeremiah and I only served together for that last year. Okay, for a year. Yeah.
He said the year of Jeremiah.
Right.
And the first year is when the majority of the harassing and all that.
So it was when I came on board, I'm sorry, the children aren't. So what was your question about?
I asked the question, the issue with her being hired back, because that's your wife's biggest focus on Facebook.
So my biggest concern about bringing Kiki on board
And then,
was
and let's get this straight. You're running for mayor, your wife is not. So I'm assuming everything she posts is something you may have instructed her to, or something y'all decided.
No, I'm my own
you do
person.
everything your husband tells you to
I don't have a
do.
husband and I don't want one.
You do everything your significant other. Do you do everything Robert Richards tells you to do? Do you everything whoever
Robert
else is
Richards
telling you
is
to
nothing
do?
to me, so that's irrelevant.
Okay,
What
so
he
you
said.
post what you want to
I'm
post.
asking you.
So do you post what you want to
I
post?
post exactly what
Okay,
I want to
so
post.
let's assume
That's
that's what
the
everybody else
question.
does.
That's the question you should ask. But I'm asking you, what is your issue
Okay.
with her? Because she posts all the questions. You don't post it or whatever. You get on there and coincide or whatever.
Well, that's your assumption, but it's false. It's wrong again.
Okay, so what is your issue with her?
So my issue with when she got appointed as the intern is that I had never heard of this person, had no information about her, and the discussion of her being brought on was brought up as a surprise to me. I had no copies of resumes. I had never had a chance to meet or interview Kiki. Nothing of any kind. But it was very obvious that the other 4 members had already done so, and were already in moving forward to that, which is a violation of the Texas Open Meeting Act for them to have done that, not in an open and professional way. So that was a concern for me, which is why when they voted to appoint her the interim city secretary, I abstained, and I stated at the time of my abstention the reason was because I didn't have enough information about Kiki to make an informed decision one way or the other.
I mean,
I had no idea.
She was a former employee, so her resume and her application should have still been on the city's file, or did y'all shred all of it?
I don't know how that happens with personnel documents and files, how
you
long
ask?
they're kept,
Since you were so
and
concerned about
those
not
kinds of
knowing about
things.
her?
So I don't know how long
For that information?
I did, yeah, and they were not able to provide it.
Being that Erica chose to resign on her own, being that the other ladies left resigned on their own, why not hire her back she's familiar with the job, she was forced out of it?
At the time when I abstained from the vote, I had no idea anything about Lakeithia's knowledge, ability, skills, history, performance, nothing. So I couldn't make an informed decision, yes or no, which is why I didn't vote no. I abstained from the vote and stated I do not have enough information about this person to be able to vote.
And another question I have, what is your intake on having cameras in the executive sessions? Isn't that against the law?
Those
To have a
sessions are not
camera in
supposed to
an
be.
executive session?
Those sessions are not supposed to be recorded.
Are you taking any action to ensure our city's compliance as responsible city council members?
Yeah, city council has moved with that. Yeah, we've had somebody come in.
What kind of specific action did you take
I
to show
was-
the public?
First of all, I can't unilaterally act. This isn't a dictatorship, so I don't have unilateral ability to take action like
you
that.
didn't really-
What I did was work
saw it
with
and let
the
it
city
happen.
council to approve getting someone to come in and review all of the cameras and to figure out what was actually happening and to make sure that anything that was illegal was stopped. So council did that as a council action, not any one individual.
So you didn't do anything to take action that you saw? Executive committee was being filmed. You know it's a violation of something. You didn't take any action. You just let city council.
Absolutely, I took action. I worked with city council to make sure that those things got fixed.
You put it on the agenda.
It was never on the agenda. It came up as a matter of, I believe, it might have actually been a discussion that occurred as part of executive session originally.
So it wasn't a separate Texas open meeting that took place to discuss the possibility of illegal recordings in our 402 on 5th Street building?
I don't believe there was ever open meeting session discussing that. So all the information you guys have is coming because people have violated the privacy requests for the executive sessions and shared that information with each other.
As a and as an American, do you think that the citizens, if you want to serve and protect and help,
Malcolm Allen.
Okay.
if I may.
I'm sure. I know you guys have all got your notes
So we need
coordinated.
I
So,
don't really coordinated.
I don't think of any coordinated call.
I hear the story. I hear the story, but I know you guys. Go ahead.
Do we need to sign this?
You don't need to. It's a debate if you would like to. Then you're
I don't know you even.
Okay.
How do you feel about the water?
I think that our water district has a lot of issues that need to be addressed. I don't think they're very efficient at what they do. I know that they create a lot of problems for our developers that want to come into Berkshire, and that we need to figure out a way to operate better like that. I also really regret the fact that we haven't been able to have a better relationship between the water district and the city of Berkshire. I know for a fact, I actually happened to be sitting in the water board meeting the day that Kim Branch came in personally to that water board meeting and asked that board to set up a meeting with a joint meeting with our city council, and they refused to do that. So I would like to see us have a much better relationship there, because I think that those two entities need to operate more closely together to help development and help the growth of our city.
Let me have to say this. If you are elected mayor, how would you try to improve the relationship with the water district? It's very important to have good working relationship with other agencies in Berkshire as well as surrounding areas. But you have a plan to improve the relationship with the water district.
Absolutely. I would want to see us as a city council again, especially since we've now got this mutual agency agreement for the trash collection place again. That we have some sort of coordinated outreach. It would be wonderful if their council would agree to maybe say a semi-annual or quarterly basis to have a joint session with our city council where we could discuss issues that we can talk about, especially things like permitting, things like the expansion of redevelopment. I know that there are issues that come up about whether or not we have capacity for some of the development issues that are coming up. So I would love to see us be able to put together agree to. I have a great relationship with Tanya, who's there to direct me personally, and I think that we could expand that. Also, have really good relations with a lot of our county district, the commissioners, Beckendorf and Trey Wells. I have relationships with them. I've worked with them on projects together in the past. And I hope to see us be able to expand our those relationships as well. Kind of take some of the black eye that Berkshire has and surrounding area and start trying to do that. Because we do have a little black eye, and I'd like to see if we can improve that.
How would you specifically have a plan for that? Are you going to force everybody to get along? Or are you going to use your friends in higher places to force people to get along? How do you, Tony Macchinelli, expect people to get along?
You have an actual good question. Yeah.
Please document the uniform speaking investigation against their murder.
Just had a long discussion about it.
This mine is not leading into that. Okay, so you also supported Jennifer Ward and their community to be hired, and you stated they were doing a great job for the city. Now that things have come to light, you're elected mayor, you support the continued investigation into these people.
Jeremiah, Erica, and Jennifer. For our city to continue to be
Yes, would
involved
you
with that?
support that investigation?
For our city to pay to be involved with it? Is that what you're asking? Or are you saying just in general, like
In
should?
general, to not give the police files or give them information, or would you be cooperative?
I think we should be absolutely 100% cooperative with any legal investigations that are happening.
You support investigating more.
I support us being supportive and following the law with any requests from investigations that are happening. So if the Fort Bend County sends us a grand jury subpoena, then our city should absolutely 100%. If Waller County comes and asks for it, we should 100% support that. If the Sheriff's Department, the Constable's Office, if anybody comes and says, we're doing an investigation of these things, then our city should 100% provide whatever documentation that we have to support those for or against the position that may be being investigated.
Okay. Now, the other thing I had is, I didn't have any more questions, but one more thing brought up that y'all were discussing about Miss Collins' resume that you never saw. Did you ever see Erica Molina's resume?
I did.
You did. Because I filled out a PRI, and I wish I had it, because I could sure bring it up. And she told me she didn't have a resume on file, that she was appointed to that position, and she didn't have to have a resume. But you saw it.
I did see one,
How
because
come she didn't offer it to me in the PRI then?
I can't answer that question because I'm not her. Right?
Because I can sure, that's some, gotta be some kind of federal law against that. If you don't provide the right information.
If you did a Freedom of Information Act request, resume should be something that you very easily should be able to provide for an employee.
Like I said, I'd have to go through my email and stuff, pull it back up and
Right.
show that.
Now the way that I happened to see her resume was not as I did never receive a hard copy of her resume. Right? So Jennifer Ward was brought on board, and at the same time she was being brought on board, she said, "Hey, I know somebody that might be like in the past," and she provided copies of Erica's background.
So you got a very important resume.
Right. So I got, and I had a chance to talk with Erica and visit with her, have to do with her.
Like I said, 'cause when I did my PR, I asked for resume and her application. She had neither one because she was appointed to this job. She didn't have to provide that. That's just what my PR. And I'd be more than happy to pull it up and show you a copy. I don't have it with me
That
now,
may
but
absolutely
like I
be
said,
the case. Because she was appointed to that position.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying that's. But if you saw it, why wouldn't it be up on public record for me to see?
Yeah, because it was.
And I'm not holding you responsible. That's
You
just a
asked me
question.
to
You just
recall stuff that happened
brought it
like 2.5 years ago now, and I can't. Since
remember
it's
a
all
lot.
being recorded on camera, I'm afraid that if I misspeak one thing,
Well-
somebody's going to come back. So I'm being very hesitant, wanting to say
Well,
specifics.
that's
about
why I
that.
write notes.
Right.
But like I said, I just had these questions I'd like to ask, and you answered them, and I appreciate it, and I thank you
All right.
for this
Thanks so much.
opportunity.
I appreciate the civility of what your discussion was, and I appreciate that you can sit and listen to an answer and not interrupt me
Well,
14 times.
I've said it from the get-go. I just want what's best for Brookshire. That's all
That's
I
what
ever
I want.
Is what's best
That's
for
all I
Brookshire.
want.
And that's all I've ever said.
Help yourself to a cookie?
Oh, I
Did you-
just ate. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So,
You bet.
y'all have a good day.
Is Beatrice here?
She's talking to her son.
Oh, okay.
She was here, but her son
Okay.
pulled up.
So, Mr. McAnally, you didn't have a meeting about hiring Erica Molina, right? You just happened to do a friend of a friend of a friend, or how do I say? It wasn't an open meeting. It wasn't official business of the city of Brookshire. You just happened to like someone just sat here and take a look at this person.
She was appointed as official open option.
Before that, you said you saw her resume.
There was a bit of discussion that our newly hired city administrator knew that we were looking for a secretary, and she told the council that she had someone who she had worked with in the past that would be a potentially good candidate, and through that we were introduced to Ms. Levine.
And I don't know how everything is supposed to work, but I have often emailed my elected officials and said anytime there's a new person being considered for servant leadership in our city of Brookshire, posted publicly so we can say, oh, Erica Molina, I think I know her, something like that. Just because from what I think is happening, not necessarily based on what you just said, is a lot of work gets done without the public knowing, and then
Can I just clarify? I want to clarify what you just said. So you're saying post what? Are you saying post it before the position, like post it advertising that we want to have somebody in the position, or
Well,
are you saying after they're hired?
I can't be
post something?
specific, and I'll cherry pick a little bit. I'm learning from you. Again, I just came from my house to here. I just came from my house to here. So I don't have any, between my house and here, I don't have any expertise, education. As I said, what I usually do is email my public officials and say, hey, if you're going to hire a new rat killer in Brookshire, or new exterminator, can you just post legally? Not tell me stuff that's a secret, not tell me things that I don't need to know, but say, hey, I don't know how you would do it, but like in church, make an announcement. Hey, we're calling someone to get this opportunity, this city, and so there's a list of people who might consider, in case we know, in case the public knows. Like Miss Olsen, you, an elected official, I want everyone here to say, by the way, everyone in Brookshire, I have an application here that, and I would ask someone in legal, is it legal to share this information, that we have a possible candidate for whatever job in the city of Brookshire. So it's a really big, I'm giving you an idea, a big idea, and I'm counting on elected officials to break it down legally.
A lot of what you're asking to do would be illegal to post that information.
I don't know.
It is.
Shut up.
So are you running for mayor? The point is, I don't see that. I didn't see when you look at that. There's nothing else on there.
I know research.
Like you have to say or not, the public knowledge, so we don't, like, almost
See
like
how
a
The public
policy.
doesn't hire those positions. So there's no need for you to review their personal information. As the
We don't
public.
want to see her address. I don't want to see her menstrual cycle or if she's had an abortion, nothing like that. Strictly about our jobs, about the job, serving the public. That's it.
I can't teach you this conversation.
You realize I live in Brookshire, don't you?
I do, but
So you're gonna have to learn how to. You're gonna have to learn how to continue a conversation with me.
the continued distortion of everything. I didn't
Yeah, I
say
know you
anything
do that a
about
lot.
person's
You really do.
abortions. I didn't talk about abortions. That was you. I
you
didn't talk
distort a
about
lot.
menstrual cycles. That was you.
You just sort of.
Okay,
I'm just
since
learning
ma'am,
from you.
what kind of-
I don't want to insinuate that you said it since your wife made the post,
Okay.
but I just went back and looked at a post where she said, so now the city secretary, Kiki O'Connor, and Robert Richards, Mayor Pro Tem, not mayor, are able to sign checks.
Correct.
Okay, if now you sat there and said yourself that Mayor Brent is not a good leader, and
I
if
said he's a weak leader, but
if Mayor Brent sat in council meetings so openly and said he did not know, or I don't know. Prime example when Mrs. Green stood up and talked about how he did her and said that she reached out to him and all this here type of stuff, and he, I don't know. So why can't you have more than the mayor's signature on the check? And that way, they can see where all the money is going to. 2 or 3 signatures on the check is a good thing.
we have a policy for 2 signatures. on a
Then
check.
money wouldn't come up missing.
We have a policy for 2
So
signatures.
why not the city secretary and the mayor pro tem?
So
The the pro tem replaces the mayor when he's not there. And then the city secretary is, in charge of the city at the moment. So why not those two?
the biggest reason not to have the city secretary as a signer, and this comes out of the Texas Municipal League and the kind of best practices in finances, is that because the city secretary also has control over the manipulation of the bank accounts, like where that money gets moved to and those types of things, it's just a poor practice to have the person with that power also be a signature on checks. And so that's the main reason why the city secretary wouldn't normally be a signer on your checks. Normally, it would be the mayor and at least one other council member. We have traditionally in Brookshire have done the mayor and the mayor pro tem. It doesn't have to be the mayor pro tem. It could be any other council member that's appointed to be that second signature on the bank account. We could have a third one. We could have the mayor pro tem, and Eric Green, or whoever in the city council. We have me, or Monique, or Ms. McKay. It could be any other member of city council. It could also be the signature on that checking account. And it might not be a bad idea to have a third signature already in place. Have a set policy that says, hey, if this happens, if the mayor is not available and the mayor pro tem has to take over that role for some period of time, who is that third signature? I already have that outlined. It's not something that the city has done in the past, but it's definitely something that could be done.
And I'm gonna reread this. That it said Robert Richards can now sign checks for the city. Not sure why he needs the authority. This is coming from your wife. In the past, it was always just the mayor. So now the city secretary, Kiki O'Connor, and Robert Richards, mayor pro tem, not mayor, are able to sign checks. And then she goes on to say the requirement for the bank is that each check has 2 signatures. Each check has 2 signatures. Okay, this is I'm reading what she wrote. This means that checks can be sign that the mayor has no knowledge of. Okay.
Right now it does because when Mayor Branch was temporarily unavailable, the city council voted to give Ms. Connor temporary signing power of those
Okay,
checks.
but
right?
and then she goes on to say the purpose of the mayor pro tem is to be a backup if the mayor is not available, not a replacement. Now keep in mind, you were just at the last meeting, and we were at a couple of meetings. The mayor is not always available. The mayor is late to meetings or whatever, too. So you sit there and you look at it. So you're making it look like the council is overstepping the mayor's boundary or whatever, but the mayor is not in 100% leadership position because he's been late to meetings. He has not shown up to meetings. You missed the previous meeting.
I did miss this one.
Whatever too. So I mean, how can the city still has to run if the mayor's not here or if he's not here or whatever? So what's the big issue with the mayor pro tem and the city secretary? Signing the check. Y'all have constantly accused her.
I'm not sure if she's asking me or you.
Y'all
I'm not
have.
sure, but I just answered that question and I
But
asked
I
you.
read your post,
But
but
you're
I
looking at
mean,
me now,
you
so-
can read. I'm talking to you directly now.
Okay.
So what is the issue of her signing a check?
If you guys want to go have that conversation.
Y'all
over
have
there,
constantly accused former council members of taking, and y'all done audits. I'm not talking
Oh
to you.
yeah. Oh, the city council.
Audit. And nobody has been proven to do anything wrong or whatever. So what's the issue with having a city secretary and the mayor pro tem? We all see now that the mayor is not 100% available.
I just
No,
explained
wait,
to you what the
she's
issue was.
asking me.
Okay.
I'm
If
asking
you're
her because she
Okay, well-
made the statement. You're running for mayor, but she's doing all the talking. So I'm asking her
It amazes me how they twist and lie. Everything they want to fit their narrative.
I'm reading her post.
Okay, well, I'm happy to talk to you about my post if that's what you want. Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking you what's the issue with her? What's the issue with Kiki? What problem do you have with her?
Well, as he said,
But now you're
The
answering for
secretary-
your husband. Can you just answer her? I feel
yes,
like
I will. And I'm backing up what I'm saying to help give a little more context.
We're here. You know the context. Alright? I got the context. I've been listening for quite a while.
Well, great. Then
So
there
answer
should
the question
Then
from
the
your
question
view.
should have been answered.
Oh, I
told
see.
you. They've changed it. Why would they need to change it? The mayor is not a full-time job.
And it's not.
It's not.
But everybody
So
knows
if
that since
somebody misses
1913.
a meeting, if somebody's not well, what needs to happen that very day that it can't wait until he's back? I don't know. And it was mentioned that in the past, the city secretary or city administrator did not have authority to sign off on checks. It's a matter of checks and balances, so that everybody
Okay,
knows
you
what's
say in the
happening.
past the city secretary and city administrator
Yeah, they
did not
didn't
have
si-
authority to sign off on
Yeah, the
checks.
mayor was signing on the check.
Okay, Jennifer Ward signed checks. She was the city administrator. Jennifer
You're
Ward.
asking me questions that don't have to do with
but
me.
this is the post that you made. You said that
Well,
the city
and I have a right
secretary
to make my
should
post.
not. Okay, but let's reiterate on it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you don't want Kiki to sign a check, but it was okay for Jennifer Ward to sign a check.
Well-
That's the point I'm trying to make. You're contradicting what you said in your post. In the past, you just said it wasn't done in the past. It was the mayor. Jennifer Ward was the city administrator. Jeremiah Hill was the mayor pro tem. Both of them signed checks.
And how do you know that?
Because how would you know Kiki signed the check?
Because they said in the meeting that those were going to be the two signatures.
Okay, but you haven't seen her sign one yet, though.
Well, I haven't seen anybody sign a check.
Oh,
I
my
haven't ever
point
seen
exactly.
it.
So why is it
So
an
how
issue?
do you know that I'm
you,
wrong
you
either?
have not seen it yet.
So you're talking about things you've never seen? Oh my gosh.
I'm not
Please
really
don't do
sure
that.
where this conversation is.
Please don't do that.
No, I'm just reiterating on some of the things that you said about just like you said, you're not sure where this coming from, and if Mayor Mayor Pro Tem Bridges or somebody say something that a citizen said, you'll say you're not sure if it happened, it's not slander. Well, when we asking y'all the questions, we know that's reiterated on this is the city of Brookshire. The majority of the people here are concerned about the money being taken and things like that. We don't want a mayor that's not going to stand on business. We don't want a mayor that's going to uphold a council member if they did something
Then
wrong.
don't reelect
We
them.
want a mayor.
Then don't
We
reelect
want a mayor that's going to put the city of Brookshire interests at best heart and listen to its citizens. And when the school district said that Jeremiah Hill was illegal for that check, it should have been handled then. It shouldn't have to wait until a new elected of council
was handled
come
then.
in to have him
It was handled
indicted for it.
It was handled then.
So this is what I'm saying. You constantly saying what the secretary or this person cannot do or whatever. We need somebody that's gonna stand on business. He's just said Branch is not a good leader. Branch does not know or whatever. So if Branch not a good leader, Branch is not coming up to meetings on time and he never knows anything, why not use your mayor pro tem or your city secretary to handle the business? Because guess what? If he out of there
Sharon,
tomorrow,
just-
the city of Brookshire
Sharon.
is still going to be rolling on.
Sharon.
Oh, the only thing they're going to say, oh, Tony McAnally died.
Sharon.
It's not going to stop the city
Sharon.
from moving.
Sharon, are you done with your speech? Can I
Sure,
Okay.
no,
So-
I was not done, but
Let-
since
let-
you
let-
mentioned,
couple-
let's go
couple
ahead.
things.
Because I'm asking
I've
her,
been attending
I
city
mean,
council meetings here for 3 years. In those 3 years, I have seen Mayor Branch miss one council meeting, which just happened when he had his health incident. I have seen him be late twice in 3 years that I've been attending.
I've seen him miss two this year already. Let's go back and pull up
he
the
did come
meeting.
late. He came
Let's go back and
he
pull
came
up the
late to
meeting.
one,
He-
and
I know personally he missed
and he
two.
didn't miss it. He came late,
He
and
came
Robert
late to
Richards
several.
started it, and then the mayor.
You're talking about this month.
No, this month was he missed.
This money,
He absolutely was not
missed-
here this month.
And one other.
There's one part of that where he came late,
He was
and
late.
Robert Richards
He's been
started
late
the
a couple
meeting,
of times.
and he did come, and the mayor did show up. And there was one other occasion where he came late as well. But in 3 years, that's all I've ever seen Mayor Branch miss as far as city council meetings go. As a matter of fact, I was trying to think. We've had a number of special meetings, workshops, and I cannot remember him being absent from any of
So for a
those.
fact, he was just
So,
missed two.
2 workshops?
2 meetings. I don't know what you do in your workshops.
Yeah, I'm only aware of one that he's missed. If there was another one that he missed, I know he was late to one, and like I said, and Robert Richards started that meeting, but then he showed up and took over partway through the meeting. But let's give the benefit of the doubt and say that in 3 years he's missed 2 meetings. He's been mayor for even longer than I've been attending city council meetings. And my understanding is that his attendance at those meetings has also been exemplary up to that point. So I don't think it's an issue that the mayor has missed
You've
a lot.
been attending meetings for 3 years. We've been attending meetings for a lifetime. We are from Brookshire. We didn't move to Brookshire.
I know for a year and a half, Sharon, you didn't attend a meeting
I've been here.
because I had perfect attendance in
was
city
here before
council
that,
meetings
1
for a
year
year and a
and a
half,
half.
and
She
you
took a
never
break.
came to one.
I took a
Took a
break
break.
because I took a
That's
break
fine.
because
It is fine.
That's fine.
every time you came to a council meeting, even when Merlin Vaughn, Lyndon Stamps, and Jones was off of the council, you couldn't focus on the meeting because here Jones, Vaughns, and Stamps. You was too busy plotting for you, but you steady trying to pinpoint and blame. We voted those out because we wanted change. Remember, we voted those out. Y'all didn't vote them in, didn't vote them out. We voted them out to see the change, and that's all y'all dwell though. So every time you come to a meeting, we don't want to hear about Jones, Vaughn, and Stamps. To us, that was history. We was talking about the present council, and he got on the council and did exactly what he accused everybody else of doing.
Exactly.
That's fine. All I can say-
Exactly what he accused everybody else
All
of
I
doing.
can say is that
You can say you didn't steal anything because whatever. We can't keep making excuses for him.
I'm not making excuses for
We can't
anybody.
keep making excuses for
Listen,
him.
I'm not making
And if you
excuses for
want
anybody.
if you want to be a mayor, you're gonna have to stand on business.
I absolutely stand on business.
You don't have to
You
stand
also
on-
said you made the false statement that when this first came to light with the city that Mr. Hill and this check for the FFA, that it should have been handled immediately, and it was handled immediately. That information was brought to legal authorities, and those legal authorities did an investigation immediately. The city council didn't sit on that for months at all. The city council acted on that information immediately, turned it over, and asked for it to be investigated by appropriate legal authorities to do so, and they did.
Is that public information?
I'm sure it is. If you want to go request it. I don't know how the constable's office releases information from investigations. I don't know what the rules. I know there's some different places. I don't know what they can release, but you can request it from them. They did it. They did an investigation at that time. A copy of that investigation, I believe, was also given to the DA's office when, in conjunction with what the city sent up to the DA's office, when the city decided to send the Tidwell investigation up to the DA's office. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No. I just say that. So we did indeed do something immediately. We didn't just sit around on our wall. So we have been very proactive as a council in trying to get things going. Long before the current council was in place, we've been involved with this and trying to take care of the business. Part of the reason that the citizens of Brookshire got property tax decreases for the last 2 years is because the previous council hired a competent administrator that was able to go in and discover that the previous administration had been miscalculating the way property tax should be charged to our citizens for years. And so the citizens of Brookshire had been mischarged for that property tax. And so for the last 2 years, we've actually given the citizens of Brookshire a property tax reduction.
Who's we?
The city council. The people who would be in charge of doing that.
They
the city
represent
council.
you, so it's
Right.
the people. We the people did that for ourselves. We demand things of our council, and they listen. So that's a good thing.
The city council is the ones that passed the budget that allowed for that to occur.
And we tell
so
our city council what
the city,
we would like them to do. Yes.
the city also, the city also had been misspending hundreds of thousands of dollars under the administration prior to us bringing on the city.
Okay, I have a question since you said misspending and now that something has brought to my attention. Did you know that the tax money was still at Wells Fargo? Because I do recall Jennifer Ward, before she left the city, and Erica saying that all the accounts was moved to Fort Bend County. How did this in here miraculously come back to Wells Fargo when the taxes, the tax guy came and stated? Did you know that account was still there?
I knew that the account was being held by the company that we paid to collect taxes.
Okay.
I didn't go and ask that particular company what banks they used to do their banking. I knew that the tax account was no longer being held by the city because we were no longer the tax collectors, and that we had hired a new company to collect our taxes, and that company had an account, a specific account, into which the dollars collected for taxes by the city of Brookshire were going into. I didn't ask that company what banks they used, so I couldn't specifically
You
say
didn't
that I was
ask the
aware.
council what bank?
I didn't ask assessors of the Southwest.
I understand you didn't ask the company,
Right.
but when Jennifer Ward was moving all the money around or whatever, you didn't ask them where the tax money would be kept at, or you didn't?
I didn't have to ask because I knew where it was going to go.
Okay, you
Because we
say
hired
you knew
assessors
a
of the
company, but
Southwest.
you said you didn't know the bank.
Right, I didn't
We
know.
understand that you know the company.
I don't know
So
who
you,
assessors
so
of those
so
banks.
basically, you said it was okay to deal with a company, but you never knew it's okay to not know where they bank at.
Yeah, 100%. You probably deal with companies, hundreds of companies, you don't know where they bank at.
No,
do you
I
know
do
where?
not.
Do you know where your insurance company
companies,
banks at?
I researched.
I bet you there
I
are
researched.
hundreds of companies you do business with, and you have no idea where they bank
I
at. Do you know where
researched.
Target banks at?
But they're not
Do you know
serving the
where
public.
I don't shop at
Walmart
Target.
banks at?
I don't
Do you
shop
know-
at Target.
Do you know where
Please.
Brookshire Brothers banks at?
I know a
You do
whole
business
bunch.
with companies all the time without knowing where they bank at.
I don't
The city
shop.
of Brookshire is not a company. It's a
You're correct.
something
It's not
else.
a company. The city.
No, I'm just asking because they stood so boldly in the meeting saying that
They did.
all the money was in Fort Bend County, and then for this
All the
company-
city's money is in Fort Bend County.
Okay,
Except for one
but
account.
except this one account at Wells Fargo.
Which is controlled by a company.
It does
we
not matter.
hired.
It steals the
You're
city's
incorrect.
money.
It's
It's
not.
people
You're
that's
incorrect.
paying taxes.
It's-
Mr. Assessments of the
it's the
Southwest
city-
said he doesn't know about that. Whatever money that's in that account, he said that was before They took over, and when they took over, they opened a brand new account
Exactly.
with zero money. in it.
Exactly.
So I just heard you saying that.
But you
that's
just
what
said
it's
the
out.
account that
The
you don't know
account-
where they vacant.
See,
He
we-
told
So
us
what-
in the, go back
What
and look at.
confusion are you looking at?
Go look. Okay, but
confused.
And this is
You are.
in
You're
in
confused.
in
you're
Rose Park, Chicago.
you're saying that you knew of the company, but
That they had an account, right?
They had an account.
So
with
we
you.
took the city
But
had a
you-
tax account. We closed that tax account. We no longer need it. The city does not collect taxes. It would be illegal for the city of Brookshire to have a tax
Okay, now
account
he's a lawyer.
because we
Okay,
don't collect
but
taxes.
you
So
just-
we hired a
But
company.
did you not hear
And that
the guy
company-
say, or was he at this meeting?
He was at the meeting. I
Well,
have
did you
information.
not hear him say that he didn't know about the account at Wells Fargo when they took the account? They did their own bank account.
Correct, because he is a separate
Okay, so
company.
it falls back on Jennifer Ward and them lying to the citizens.
They didn't lie about
Saying
anything.
to- oh,
They
my
transferred-
point exactly. We don't need liars as leaders. My point
They were not
exactly. We
lying.
don't need liars
They're
as
not
leaders.
lying.
They're not
They
That's the
closed.
I'm gonna live in your world. It's a lot easier.
They had closed the account and transferred the collection of taxes to assessments of the Southwest.
We
And
got that.
Assessments of Southwest said he was not aware of the bank account
He
at
didn't
Wells
need to be
Fargo.
aware of it. It's
Okay,
not his
my
account.
point
The
exactly.
money exists.
The
Why would
money
you know about
exists
it?
there, and they
Not
said
now.
Waller County that the city of Brookshire money was in Fort Bend County. My point
It's a
exactly.
first
We
bank.
cannot have leaders that lie. I mean,
Nobody's lying.
That's a big
not lying.
issue. Even the council was stunned when he said the money was there.
See you later. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
My point exactly. One thing
You don't know what you're talking
One,
about.
you
because there's
don't
no-
know what you're talking
I absolutely
about.
know,
You
because I was there and
don't, you
involved.
don't know.
Just tell the
you
voter
don't,
they
you
don't know
don't
what
know
they're
what.
talking about.
I
I'm
did
going off.
because she doesn't know.
I'm going off
It's
what
okay
he
for voters to
said.
be ill-informed and educated.
I'm
which is
going
why
off
I'm
what
trying
he.
to give her the
Okay, but he
information
said
and
it in the meeting.
information.
Okay.
He said.
Tony McAnally
So
educated
were
the
you
public.
surprised the money was at Wells Fargo?
Was I surprised that what money was at Wells Fargo?
The 5 point. That's
can't
one
wait to show this
supposed
to
to be,
somebody.
and it was $1
There is
million
not 5.1.
missing.
There's not 5.1 million in Wells Fargo.
Okay, so the
We don't have
the
that
guy
exact amount,
lied.
but I was at that meeting in April.
Listen, if you go back and listen to what he says there used to be.
Oh no, he
No,
it,
it's
it, it,
5.1
it says
now.
it says nothing about used to be.
Yeah.
It
You're
didn't.
talking about Mr. Richards' statement where he said,
I'm not
"We
talking
used to
about
have
Mr. Richards. I'm
5
talking about
where?
the guy that stood up and talked.
Mr. Assessments of the Southwest.
Okay, Mr. Assessment Southwest.
Mr. Richards.
He said
when he
that
said
has
that
an
Mr.
account.
Richards and everybody else did like that. We going off of what he said.
And what,
And what he said is
Mike
that
Taylor Hatfield
he
said.
has an account that Assessments of the Southwest uses to collect taxes for the city of Brookshire, and that those funds are automatically transferred to bank accounts for the
We
city.
gonna have to go pull this meeting.
Yeah,
Please
I
do.
think
And,
so.
and let
And
him do
Please
also-
do, because you're misinformed on what the statement was made.
I'm not misinformed. I listened at the meeting.
It should not be
before
public.
I
I
asked
do
the
too. The
question.
meeting is public. It's right there. Anybody can go and see
We
it.
don't need anybody to go and get it.
What
If you're going to be
Mr.
answering our
Richards
questions,
said
you should have
is-
that.
information. If you're going to make accusations, you should have it at your fingertips.
I'm not making
Yes,
accusations.
you are. She is, and you're supporting her.
I don't even like Sharon.
I don't
So
That's it.
Sharon is making a claim.
She's an
Give me a
American.
transcript of
This
give
is
me
an
a
American
transcript of the-
citizen,
of the
sir.
meeting if you are.
It's an
then-
American
The
independent
meeting-
grown-ass woman.
It should be absolutely. And this is where this agreement,
Did you
And-
see
and
us
I'm-
this
together?
misunderstanding can be 100% solved by looking at a transcript.
Are we looking
And you should have it. You should have
And
it.
I have looked at the transcript.
You
and
should have it here.
And I know
Thank you.
exactly what it says
Questions.
because I wrote a rebuttal to ABC 13 News about the misinformation that they published saying that $1 million was missing. $1 million was never missing. There was $1 million tax account that the city used at the time when the city was the tax collectors.
So you do know about this.
Absolutely.
So when
When
she
the
was asking you
city-
to, or anybody asked you, you were saying, it's not over there. That's not what they said. We don't have to do that. And that's illegal. Now you know. Now you know.
So Ruth, you just once again
I haven't once again
misconstrued
nothing.
everything that I've said
I
and
don't care.
chose to
I don't care what you think.
misunderstand everything.
I'm gonna vote. I'm a voter. I have a right to ask you questions.
Sharon, there was $1 million in an account that was kept at Wells Fargo at the time when the city of Brookshire was the tax collectors. The city of Brookshire was no longer able to be the tax collectors because the person we had that was trained and authorized by the state to do that was no longer working with the city. So we hired a company called Assessments of the Southwest to become the tax collecting entity for the city of Brookshire. When that happened, that account was closed. The city's tax collecting account that at one point may have had up to $1 million in it, that was continuously moved over and swept over to the city's other accounts. That account was closed, and Assessments of the Southwest, under their contract, opens up a specific separate account because they collect for many different cities, an account that is specifically for the funds they collect on behalf of the city of Brookshire. And they open that account. I did not have personal knowledge of what bank they used to open that account. It is the opinion of the ever knowledgeable and also wise Ms. Rodriguez that I should know.
Don't be picking on me. Don't be singling me out.
I'm going to single you out if you make comments. If you make comments, you will be
You
singled
don't know
out.
what I'm saying.
I heard you just say it. So if
don't
you
know
make
what
a
you heard.
comment, I will
You could be
single you out.
misunderstanding me.
It doesn't matter. But I have a right to my opinion and to say what I want to say.
Don't bully someone else.
No, you can go bully somebody else
I'm not.
because you're
I'm
being
a
the bully.
voter.
You're being the bully. Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Ruth
Mr.
Rodriguez
Bowman.
is so sad.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
How
Back
do
to
you
your
know that?
question,
I don't know your husband.
that
Don't
we
get
have
somebody else.
that account closed. Assessments of the Southwest opened a new account. That account, held by them, also sweeps money from their account to the accounts of the city of Brookshire. There's never $1 million missing. All that happened was that an account that had formerly been kept by the city of Brookshire, because the city of Brookshire used to be the tax collectors, is now being kept by the company we hired to be our tax collectors.
Mr. Assessments of the
Why
Southwest
didn't you
said
if that was
he didn't
so?
know
Why
that.
didn't you correct it in the meeting?
Because the man from Assessments in the Southwest did correct it. He stood up in the meeting and
he
said,
did not.
we have that tax account right now. And he said that in the meeting from the audience, that they have that account.
He said, whatever whoever was bringing it up on that row
Mr.
of people,
Richards,
there's a row of people that I called city council. Someone in that group, I don't remember who,
Mr. Richards, I'm
said
clarifying
there's
for
$1
you.
million. It's irrelevant, and you're interrupting me.
It is not irrelevant. It's absolutely
So
relevant.
stop interrupting me. So he pulled up a piece of paper like this and said something like, and there's $1 million. And I remember him, and I'm sure we can just go on the YouTube channel. I remember him asking, hey, does anyone, he was more formal, but he was asking, what about this? That's what I got. The context was, what about this $1 million that's still, I heard, in Brookshire in the Wells Fargo account? And anyone, Mr. Assessments of the Southwest took the Fifth Amendment and he said, I don't know anything about that. When y'all gave me a contract, when I signed the contract, we, at my company, Assessments of the Southwest, opened up a brand new account from zero. So he didn't answer why the $1 million. He said, I don't know. So, is there any, I mean, I don't even know the right question to ask you, but it just seems that
So, first of all,
you should know.
There
You're a
is
city
no $1 million
council.
account. You're making
But
up out of
I'm
whole
not making
cloth.
anything up. I was there at the meeting.
I was there at the meeting too.
So
Surprise,
can you
surprise.
provide us public
I'll tell you
information?
what, why don't you go look at the meeting and bring the transcript back?
Can
and
you
then we'll
provide
have
public
the discussion.
information that verifies what you're telling us is absolute truth?
Yeah, there is no accounts at Wells
Whatever
Fargo.
you just said to me, I don't know. Say it. Contradictory thing.
I'm not going to make myself well. I've been 100% consistent.
So then why don't you refer me to the date and the account number, you know, stuff that we can look for
Because I'm
ourselves.
not the bookkeeper. It's not my job to be the bookkeeper.
What is your job?
As a city council. To
Whatever you're trying to do here. I don't know what your job is. I don't
well,
know
there's some
anything about
research
you.
for you to do. Go and see what it is that
I'm asking you,
No, I'm not
Mr.
going to answer.
McAnally.
I'm telling you, go do your research and come back as an informed
Well, you're
citizen.
not doing your job. If what I research means you're not doing your job.
You don't know what I do apparently. So go do your
Okay,
research.
Mr. Circular Conversation.
No, sir, you just
You
asked
told
me
to
what I
go-
do.
You told me to go look it up. I did.
No, you just said you
And
don't
you're-
know, and
and I
now
said
suddenly
you're
you
not
do
doing your
know.
job.
You suddenly know because you
No,
just did
I asked
research in the
you,
30
I said,
seconds.
what is your job? You said, doing what? I said, I don't know. What do you do? You said, go
said-
look it up.
You said,
I said,
you
well,
said,
I already
exactly. You
looked
said
it up.
I don't know. You just said you don't know, so you don't know. So since you don't know, I'm telling you, go and find
You know,
out.
I don't know how you're married to this person. This is so weird. Such a weirdo.
I can't wait to
Listen,
see this on YouTube. This is going to be such an entertaining. Such an
Don't fire
entertaining.
yourself.
The way you edit it is going to be the most interesting part of it.
My battery doesn't last that long.
That's
so
okay.
you're-
I'm just looking
stuff.
forward to see how you edit it. And Reggie's is going to be exceptionally interesting
Stop bringing
to
people
see
into the
how
conversation
he
that are none of your
and
business.
how he. He's absolutely my baby. She's recording. So
I'm your business because I'm a voter.
she's a voter too.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise!
So
there are
you cared
other
about
people
me, don't worry about
you
him?
know, other people exist besides Ruth Rodriguez. Isn't that amazing?
That's what
Surprise!
you need to learn. You need to learn that, Mr. McAnally. When you stand up here, You know,
Sharon,
I've
did you
given
have anything else? Did I explain to you well enough what it is that you wanted to know about it? Did you have any other
Stand up
questions?
here
Yeah, I'm
claiming
gonna
to know about the
ask,
city that I've
because
been a
I'm
part
trying to
of.
go back. I
Please
want
have
to,
facts, because you look ridiculous not knowing anything. You look like you're gossiping.
What was your question about?
No, I want to ask her about your wife about making a statement about the preacher bullying Grant, intimidating him, or however the post said.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It was public comment when he went on for quite a few minutes. I think pretty sure.
Well beyond
more
the
than
3-minute limit.
Yeah, and was pretty much just telling Branch all about everything he thought was wrong,
With Mr. Branch.
and I felt that was a very personal attack.
And one,
But
point,
did- but-
one of the points we
Okay,
had
here's
asked
the
for
thing.
decorum is that public comments not be addressed to specific council members. That these are supposed to be public comments about.
Is that somewhere in?
Yeah, there's a policy. There's a policy about doing public comments that the city has, and one of those is the comments should be directed to the council and not to individual council members. We also ask that you don't use things like that. You don't use profanity, things like that. And one of the that we can't address anything that's not on the agenda in those public comments. So you can stand up and make a comment about it, but we can't address it. But one of the things that we ask is that you don't specifically address individual council members, but rather those comments are designed to be informational and public information to the public and the council as a whole. Not this isn't designed to be a forum for somebody to get up and air a personal grievance.
I don't think it was a personal grievance, but my thing is.
It was my opinion.
To her, and you're entitled to your opinion. But if I was the mayor and you called me 3 or 4 times, and I know that it's you calling me, and I don't ever return your call or try to reach out to you or whatever, wouldn't you feel?
Oh, you wouldn't have that.
Wouldn't you feel the need to contact me and let me know how can you be sitting here and I'm calling, I'm reaching out to you, and you're not responding, you're not answering, and all this here type of stuff or whatever? You have to look at the fact that he's the city mayor. The mayor's job is to assure that the city is being ran properly and correctly, look out for the best interests of the city, and to communicate with the citizens. So if the citizens reach out to you and ask you for something, I mean, either you could just answer and say, well, I don't know, but to let somebody call you 4 or 5 times and you never respond, that's not good for a mayor.
How do you know that?
She's asking me. I get one.
Okay.
It's exciting. I get one.
Remember you said you had nothing to do with her post. Remember you said you had nothing to do with her post, so I'm asking her.
I just wanted to know how you had your facts.
She felt as though, because I've called Branch a couple of times and he hasn't responded to me.
Okay, so is it my turn now?
Yes,
Awesome.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I feel, and this is my opinion, I feel that you are correct. If somebody's reaching out to the mayor, they should respond. Number one, common courtesy, that's what you're elected for, or everything else, right? And that's what you're saying.
Yes.
That he was feeling very frustrated that the pastor reached out several times and was,
You're very immature now.
excuse me,
No, excuse your husband. because
No,
he's
excuse me.
harassing me.
he offered you a bottle of water.
I didn't take it down. You're saying,
I was fortunate.
yes, you are.
So, I agree. That's not okay, right? Okay, but I don't think anybody needs to be publicly humiliated, slander, or the type of the frustration and anger that he was venting. I felt was not professional or appropriate in a public forum. Now, if you want to go and show up at his office and get in somebody's case, I mean that's between you and the other person. But my opinion, I feel that there needs to be a certain amount of respect for people in the meetings and during public comment. And so I felt it was important. And so that is why I posted what I did. I felt it was important.
Just have you know, based on your treating people with dignity, I'm using that word should be taken respect. When you're sitting in the back of that hall back there in the city council, and you can't hear someone and you say, hey, we can't hear you. You think that's respectful?
I don't think it's the same comparison.
To me it is. That's why I'm asking.
And there's a reason that the meetings are being recorded. And people have said to me and posted that they can't hear what people are saying because they're not speaking into the mic. So it's part of the legal requirement is to have a recording of the meeting. And if you can't hear what people are saying, then somebody should say something so you can hear what being recorded.
You don't think you should go to the mayor and talk to him one-on-one in his office?
There was more than one person that was there.
I'm
And it
asking
was
you
impacting the crew.
if you don't think what you just told somebody else, whoever it is, that if you have a beef with someone or anything, that the public over there is not the place to
Telling
discuss it.
somebody I can't hear them is not the
So-
same thing from going on for
Well,
5
it is to me.
minutes
So
with this
it's
frustration.
disrespectful of you to do that.
Well, that's
And
your
it
opinion. Thank you for sharing.
contradicts what you just said that some people should go into the office. Maybe you should go to the mayor's office and talk to him about it.
Maybe she has.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. But,
Yeah.
but,
I mean, I agree that obviously it's frustrating if you're trying
yeah,
to reach out to
and then
somebody.
if
But
the
I'm
mayor,
not running for office either.
the
I'm just,
mayor not making himself available, so
Right.
what if the council
Right.
is the only place that you can address him at?
publicly though?
Publicly, yes. I mean, privately, he walks out of there with his head down, not talking to nobody.
Well, and
But
the,
you can
the
still
thing with
address it.
the
You can
thing
make
with
you can make an appointment to come to his office.
well, and the thing with public servants,
Now,
know,
you
city
know
council,
yourself.
mayor,
You know for yourself, most people communicate through email, text message, and all that there type of stuff.
I'm just saying, you were talking about frustration level and what I do, and rather than get up and do a public berating of that nature, there are other options that can be chosen. And if you're not getting a response to phone calls, emails, make a personal appointment, come in and see him, and talk to him, catch him at the end of the meeting. If he says he's not.
But I mean,
And,
I understand.
there's lots of other options. That
It's
we're
other
looking at.
options, but it's
And-
so
and there's
easy
nothing
to
wrong
answer
with-
the phone or return the email. Well, people don't have to come
there's
up here.
nothing wrong with getting up here in public comment and expressing your frustration. I just felt the intensity and the way it was worded was unprofessional. And that is my opinion.
Did you talk to him?
That is my opinion.
Did you talk to the pastor about it?
That's my opinion.
Did you talk to him about it? He's right down there.
Why wouldn't we?
You could catch him at the end of the meeting, or
But why would we? Why would
because she's an opinion on it.
Right, but we didn't get up and publicly berate him.
And she can tell him her opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll learn something.
Maybe
Maybe his agency will
he might,
continue.
he might not. You never know. But the point is that we didn't choose to get up in a public forum, and that's inappropriate.
We are talking about that.
Because we
We're
don't want
talking
to.
that's
Whoever
this-
you say rated
Ruth,
Mr.
I'm
Mayor.
sorry you're not happy with whatever is happening, but you're just picking fights.
Let me say it this way. Okay, you said that you don't want people to pick on people in the
Sharon, did you have anything else
But then when I asked you
constructive I
about
can answer for you?
the mayor, you
This
said
is
that's
going
the same
nowhere.
thing. No, I agree it's not going anywhere, but
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I'm done. I asked all my questions because I feel attention
Well,
to the
I want to say thank you because I
Facebook
appreciate the
post
civility of the
and-
way you were able to have the discussion and that we were able to.
You're welcome. I pay attention to the Facebook posts and all that
Sure.
stuff too. So we're trying to see, get some.
And you get to see the Brookshire community stuff, right? Are you on Brookshire community page?
Y'all block me out one Brooks and Patterson everywhere.
Okay, so that's good because you get to see probably a lot more like this because the administrators of Brookshire community won't allow myself to be on that page, so I'm not allowed to see anything that gets printed on that page at all. So I have had people go, why did you respond to that page? Well, I'm not allowed to be on it, so I can't see what's there, so I can't
We don't
respond.
respond to everything that they post on one Brookshire because we're not allowed.
Because you're not allowed that,
And so that's
right,
because
and that's fair. If you can't see it, right, then you can't very well respond to what's there. So that is part of this continues to create this division is that we've got these two echo chambers that go on in the Facebook world where people control
now the
100%.
division comes in as to everybody wants to screen a race card or whatever, but the division comes in when individuals don't want to hold themselves accountable or take responsibility for their actions or whatever because
I agree.
instead of
And when somebody gets up and says, "Vote out the White Devils,"
who said go out the
Who
white
said
Devils?
that?
it's available in
Did somebody say that to you?
it's
Oh my
both available
God,
in
I'm so
text
sorry.
messages that occurred during the last election, and it was told personally
that's
to
a
my
pass.
face by two different members that are currently elected to city council. That their goal was to get out the White Devils.
Two people on the elected
Two
city
people
now?
that were just elected to city council told me personally that was their goal. So you're right. When people play
Well,
racially,
I can
it
assure
should
you,
be.
I can assure you that wasn't my goal. My goal was.
And
to
I didn't
get-
say you said that. To
No,
me. I
but
never heard
I'm
you say that.
telling you,
right?
you're saying as a citizen of Brookshire, I'm telling you that was not my goal. My goal was to get Jeremiah Hill out of office because Jeremiah Hill constantly accused Bond, Stamps, Jones, and the Greens of stealing. And then
So
you go.
who's Vaughn?
She's no longer on the council.
She was a
but
council member.
I'm just saying
I'm
her
just trying to.
name.
So
I'm-
Vaughn,
Jones, and
that,
Stamps, and different people.
and
of
Jones was on
stealing.
council.
You know Lee Jones was on council. That's who ran against Amanda ran against.
Okay, that was like that was like my first year here, so I didn't know.
Okay, so you're not from you
Okay.
came in what?
So Jones-
2018, 19,
Yeah, 2022. Yeah, right. So you're saying that they were accusing
He was accusing
Vaughn,
everybody
Jones,
on the
Stamps, and
put it like
Green.
this. He was accusing everybody on the previous council
Okay.
of stealing.
Okay.
And then he come in and do the absolute what he accused
Right,
everybody
right,
else
with the
of.
EDC funds.
With the EDC funds.
Right.
He come in and do the same thing he was accusing everybody else of. But it was proven he wrote a check. But you audited all these people and it was never proven. So the division comes in
So who audited those
because he still.
Who audited those?
Stephanie just told y'all she was in the council meeting. She was audited 3 times. Michael Barnes told y'all that
I
she
know
was
people have
audited.
said it, but I
That
have
she was
asked
audited.
repeatedly for copies of those
you
audits.
wasn't here. Well, take it back. You're on in your second year. You wasn't here in the prior time. But
Right,
she
but-
stated that
but I have
Michael
heard about
Barnes,
these, and I've asked for copies of
Michael
them.
Barnes stated that
I
she was audited. She talked to Branch about her being audited and her pay cut. And guess what the mayor said? I didn't know.
Right, but
Okay, so my
Sharon,
point is.
Sharon, where are those audits? Because like you, I have also done FOIA requests for copies of those audits.
I've done
And they don't
requests
exist.
when Ward was here and I didn't get the record.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know
And
why.
I haven't
Because I
requested
can't get
anything
copies of
right
these
now.
audits either. So people keep
I
saying
haven't-
these audits existed and happened,
Well,
but I don't know. I've never
well,
seen
go
copies of
call
them.
Stacy, Erica, or somebody that was in the office shredding all the paperwork when they were doing all that. Ask those.
Why
was it a
would
part of
those people shred audits that were
You need to ask them that.
against
You gotta.
Jones
I
and-
can't answer that
Okay.
question because I wasn't there.
So you
and-
saw them
and
shredding?
I saw a picture of shredding paper, and I wasn't the shredder, but I saw a picture.
So,
of the
so you saw
shredded
some
paper.
paper being shredded, but
So
you don't know what it was. You're just assuming
you
it
go
was.
ask
this.
them about all the records that they shredded. They should be able to tell you about the audits they performed if they were here.
They did perform those audits.
They had them performed.
They couldn't have because you're saying that these audits were done.
Okay, so
You saying these audits were done back when Amanda and Hill were here. They didn't. She didn't get hired till after those
who didn't
people.
get hired after the people?
Jennifer and Erica.
Jennifer was here almost a year with Hill. Yeah, they were here. Almost a year with Hill.
But you said that when he got elected,
and
he did all
Stephanie,
this.
didn't you not say Stephanie worked well over a year and then she resigned?
Yeah,
Okay, she worked with Jennifer. She worked with Hill.
she was.
She worked with them. Okay, let's correct. You came in
I agree. She worked with them,
a year later
but
because you ran against Lee.
They didn't do
She
audits
said-
on Vaughn,
she
on
told you-
Jones.
She
I mean,
told
other people.
she told you her paycheck was cut. She told you it was audited 3 times.
She
And
didn't tell me that.
And she told the council that. and
But I
she
wasn't on
told-
council when she
And
said
she told Brent that it was done 3 times, and Brent said he didn't know.
I wasn't on council at that time. I can't respond to those things because I wasn't there.
Okay, but you're asking how? She stood up there and not one time did Branch deny it.
But all of those
Even
things,
when Eric
all of
Scott-
those things
even-
occurred
even
before
when Eric
Jennifer and Erica were
No,
hired.
it was not Jennifer
Yeah.
and Eric. who
All of
worked
those
with
things occurred before I was on council.
Jennifer.
I was
It
on the
occurred-
council that
let's say
hired
it
Jennifer Ward.
occurred, let's say it occurred. So, did you not work with Stephanie?
Stephanie was never an employee when I was on city council.
Did you not work with Kiki?
Kiki was never an employee when I worked on city council.
Okay, they were here 1 whole year before you got here, correct? Jeremiah was here 1 whole year before you got here,
He was
right?
elected 1 year before me, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go back and pull up some of his Facebook posts and send it to you where he talk about the theft and all this here type of stuff. Because apparently you came in 2022 and you're not aware of everything that he posted. He was posting this before he even ran for the office that they were stealing.
Okay.
Because he was elected in 2022. 22.
Yes, and he was posting
Yeah.
before.
No,
So it's easily.
So
Jeremiah
Jeremiah was
was
elected in
2022.
22. I was elected
He
in
was
2023.
my point exactly. I know exactly when because
Okay.
he was not contested. Then he chose not
Right,
to run it.
right.
That's how he got his seat.
And so you're saying that before 2022, before he was elected,
Even before
Mr.
he was
Hill
elected,
was
that's
posting these
all
things.
he was posting.
okay, right? But then you're saying during that time there were
During
audits.
that time, he still posted it, and they had her audits.
Who had her audit?
Jeremiah Hill asked
But he
Mike-
wasn't elected.
He was in office, and Michael Barnes was the
Acting
interim
interim,
city
yeah.
administrator.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yes, he
that.
was. The man,
right,
Michael Barnes, stood there and told you the exact same thing.
Never told me this.
Okay, well, y'all pay attention to what y'all want to pay attention to. Y'all not listening to everything. Go back and listen at it. It's easy for you to say the first year you were not there. You don't know everything that went on the first year because you were not there. You were not there. But
Right.
Michael Barnes stated he was the city administrator.
Right, he was the
had
acting
an
city
audit.
administrator.
He had an audit per
So
Jeremiah Hill.
he had her. So
Jeremiah
Mike,
Hill
right.
asked him to have her
So
audit.
Mike Barnes had her audited, not Jennifer
Jeremiah
Ward.
Hill
Okay,
asked him.
Jeremiah asked Mike Barnes, not Jennifer Ward, because Jennifer Ward wasn't hired.
I
because Mike
said
Barnes
Jeremiah Hill accused Jones,
Right.
Self, and
But
Barnes
I asked
stealing.
you then where are these audits at, and you said Jennifer and Erica had them because they did them. And now you're saying they didn't do them. Mike
Okay.
Barnes did them.
If I leave a job, am I supposed to take all the files or the paperwork with him? If Michael Barnes left here, shouldn't he left all those audits
should
and
have, yeah.
paperwork here?
Yeah.
Okay, my point exactly. It should have been still here at
Absolutely,
the
it should have been.
But when they said they were shredding paperwork and changed out all the computers, you may have not seen them because everything was got written up. But to say it was not done is not a good thing to say because Stephanie stated, Michael Barnes stated, and Brent said he didn't know it. He didn't know it. So, I mean, for a person just to assume that, and Michael Barnes said it plain as day, he was the active intern city administration. It was an order from Jeremiah Hill.
Well, Jeremiah, I couldn't have ordered him to do anything. It would have had to have been instruction from the city council.
Okay,
No,
the
those city council
the
members should have
council
authority
consisted
to
of Jeremiah Hill, Amanda,
Monique.
Darrell Brent, Monique, and Kim Brent,
and Linda Stamps.
and then the Sanders. Exactly.
Right. So the council would have had to agree to have any kind of
Whether
audit.
whether it was an individual councilman, the council agreed as a whole, it was done. It was done. She was audited, and he accused her of stealing, and nothing was found.
So
He wrote a check from the EDC.
Mike Barnes
It was found.
Mike Barnes did the audit?
I'm hoping he sent it to a company or a private.
Right. And so
Oh,
what I've
no,
asked,
I'll take it back.
so what I've asked for is copies of that. Where is it? And you're saying that it was destroyed.
Isn't that city records?
It should be city
It
records.
should
yeah.
be city records.
Yeah.
My point exactly. So if Mike Barnes was fired or Jeremiah Hill got rid of him when he was there, then why would he take city records with him?
I have
And
no
then
idea.
shouldn't it be a
Why did Joe Biden and President Trump and everybody else take records when they left the White House? I don't know why people do stuff and
Okay,
take
my
records,
point
right?
exactly.
I don't
So-
know why they do
so
it, but
to say it's not done is, I mean, it's
but
not a good thing to
my
say
point is to
because
say,
it
how do
could-
we know what the results were? Because no one has any records of it.
Michael Barnes said he didn't find anything.
Michael Barnes is saying those things, but where's the proof?
My point exactly. It could have been in the shredded
Right.
paper.
So it could have been.
It could have been. Who knows if they found something? It could have been in the shredded paper. But instead of shredding paper and changing our computers and getting rid of all the records, leave it there so you can
Right.
have.
But we don't know what records were shredded.
You're right. We don't.
We know. So you're just making lots of logic leaps and lots of assumptions and lots of
That's
conclusions.
not a logic leap. That's not a logic assumption because you have office
So you
workers
can
that
choose to
said-
believe what papers were shredded, whatever you want. Right? I don't.
But who to say the audit wasn't shredded? You don't know.
I don't know either.
You wasn't here.
And
wasn't
I
here.
choose to operate from a position of non-authority, and I refuse to say whether those were the audits or were not the audits.
We're not
You
saying-
say it is the audits. It's only the audits, and it's
said
nothing
how
but
you
the
know
audits.
it wasn't the audits. I didn't say it was. I say they shredded
Okay?
paper.
So my-
And they changed computers.
they shredded
and they,
papers
and they removed
absolutely
files.
they did. Prove to me there was an audit.
Okay, can I
Prove to me there was an audit.
Stand on business.
You
prove it.
stand on business, you prove it, you're on the council.
you're the one that signs over
I don't have to prove it because I don't. My statement is there was no audit, so
Okay.
I don't have to prove there was an audit.
Okay,
We wanna know.
you wasn't there, you don't
So
know.
what you want to know? There's no audit.
You wasn't there, you don't know.
Then the Justice Department will figure it out if you're telling the truth or not.
Absolutely, have the Justice Department get involved. I would
What was your
love
question, Ms.
to
Lloyd?
have, please,
Stop talking.
get the Justice Department
Don't
come
say
in.
it wasn't done, because Stephanie stood so boldly in the meeting and said it.
And Stephanie's never lied about anything, right?
Nobody
I know I
disagreed with
haven't
her.
ever.
So,
Nobody disagreed with her. What was your question?
I was just going to try because I think both of you are trying really hard to understand each other and just to kind of sometimes to
I
agree.
understand him.
I think what you're saying is you've heard about audits too, and you have not seen any proof of an audit. And you're saying that you've seen audits too, and you think that they were shredded.
I never seen them. I said that they were done. I heard
Okay,
they
so
were done.
you've heard that they were done.
and
So I think you both
paperwork
agree that
was
audits were
we
done.
both have heard that they were
And
done.
I think you've both been frustrated that you haven't been able to see them.
I don't need to
Would
see
you
it.
agree with that?
I don't need to see it because my point is, if you had an audit, if you had anything to prosecute anybody of, she's been gone from the city, she's been from the council, why wasn't she prosecuted? If she done something wrong.
Maybe because there are people on council that were trying to protect her.
No, the lawyer, you got the same lawyer that you had in previous years. Her husband been out of council 2 years. He was.
You asked a question, why was she prosecuted? I answered.
I'm gonna ask
Okay,
the
my
attorney
point
that.
exactly. When Hill was on council, Kim was on council, been for 6, 7,
So
14, 15, 16 years.
maybe there were people that wanted to protect those people. I
Okay,
don't know.
now.
No, we don't
Okay,
we don't do that.
and my point is, you said maybe it was people on council that wanted to protect those.
Possible. You asked a question.
We
You asked a
don't care
hypothetical
who
question.
the
I give a
council
hypothetical answer.
is or who they trying to protect. Your job is to do what's right by the people.
I agree, and I wish
so
our
if
council was
there was a
focused
council
on
member
that.
was trying to protect her, then they need to be
And I
done.
wish our council was focused on that.
So it's not.
Focused on doing what's right for
We're not
Berkshire.
worried.
I wish our council was focused on
The
building
whole-
the infrastructure that we need and getting our streets paved.
That's what
I
y'all
wish that our
focus on.
council was focused on figuring out how to bring the appropriate amount of economic development,
I
retail
wish the
business, and
council was
things.
focused on
the-
doing the right thing.
Right, and what I just told you are the right things for the city of Berkshire. We need to get fiscal transparency. We need to get infrastructure in our city fixed. We need to bring in the appropriate economic development for the city of Berkshire. We need to have a long-term plan for how we're going to work with development that's coming all around our city and what we're going to do with the developments that are building in all of our ETJs and all of the surrounding area of our city where we don't have adequate ability to provide water and electric and sewer right now. And we're gonna have to have a bigger plan for figuring that out over the long term.
And I
Since
understand.
all of that should be the focus
All
of
of
the
that
council.
should be the focus. of
Worrying
the
about
council.
whether or not
But
Stephanie Green, Lyndon Stamps,
that
Jeremiah
should-
Hill,
that
or
should
anybody
be the
else
focus of
did
the
this
council.
stuff is a distraction.
But you
The
don't have
previous
interest in this
council,
anyway.
the previous council, no infrastructure, no emergency
That's
plan
okay. I mean,
for
people
the
have to
city
learn. People
and
have to
all that.
learn.
They're the previous council, so it can just fall on this council because
I'm not saying-
you, no, I'm just saying you got two newly elected people that day that this has never been on the council, but you have previous council members. Where were the infrastructure and all the things that you said?
Well, during
in
our
the
previous
prior
council, we got
and the prior council
a
or
big
whatever,
grant
so.
in order to get all of the roads paved.
Not all of
We
them.
got a big grant in order, and we're working with the district, with the county for a big grant to get a big drainage issue resolved over on First Street. So the previous council.
Is the drainage issue resolved?
It's in plans. I don't know if you were at the last city council meeting, but we got a big report about where that's at, and they've completed all the engineering for it, and they're getting ready to go out to bid for the actual work to get done for that. Yeah, that was actually reported at the last city council. We also made a big discussion, a report about the finally have all of the road work that we tried to get done. We got all of that cost estimated, and we're going to go out for bid on that one as well. But all of that started under the previous council, getting those funds in place and using those funds and directing those funds for those projects to do. And this council has been so focused on these other things that this engineering stuff and things that should have been done months ago has been delayed, and it hasn't been the matter of focus to city
But you were
council
part of
members.
this council.
I am, and I keep bringing it up.
How
and I
many
keep getting over.
times-
I am one voice in four, and when
But
four people
but when-
override what I'm saying,
I never see
I know what that feels like.
your
You override
concern.
what I say. Yes, sir.
I never see as many as your concerns on the agenda. I mean, if things are happening like that and it's not being done, why not put it on the agenda? So
They have been on the
we,
agenda.
the citizens, can ask the question: why is this not being done? Why is that not being done? You know, back in my younger days, they used to tell us a closed mouth don't get fed. So if it's something that they're
I
not
have,
doing,
and I
or
have
if
put
something,
the drainage and the road work both on the agenda the agenda several times. Other council members may have also had issues related to that as well. So it has been on city council agenda a few times to get that done. But the behind the scenes work has been actually the problem is that getting the staff focused on making sure that those things are getting pushed forward has been a bit of a challenge.
okay, well you had 3 to resign,
I know.
so that.
Well, no, actually, one didn't resign. Her position was defunded.
And we didn't need that. The city ran several years without a city administrator.
Yeah, but we're too big now. We need that administrator. As Kiki said when she came in, she can't run it by herself as the city secretary. She
Do you
needs
still wanna do that
more
job?
help to do that.
Do you still want to do that job, city administrator?
I would have loved to have been the city administrator here. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't work for the city for 2 years after I'm out of office. That's a city policy, so I couldn't apply for the position. But, yeah. That would be, I would love to have him do that because I think one of the big things we need here is city staff that is able to drive all. The city council makes a lot of decisions and gives a lot of direction, but the day-to-day actually making that happen falls back onto the staff to make sure that happens. And that's what we
I
need
would
to
like
have
to
the
say
staff.
something about Channel 13, KTRK, Mr. McAnally.
We're only staying here till 2:30, so we are going to pack up and
So,
get out of here.
KTRK,
I
Channel
appreciate you
13.
so much for coming and being
You said
here.
you
Thanks,
called about a
Sharon. I
rebuttal?
appreciate it. So,
I called them too.
Thanks so much.
They said someone had called that was crazy, and they thought the city of Brooks was crazy. So that must have been you. I don't know. They didn't say nothing about a name. They just said someone else had called complaining about Michael Haskell's recording. But by 2:30.